It's about that time. Thank you for joining us for another live segment of Dialogue with the Doc, where we discuss candid conversations outside of the pulpit. Now let's give it up for the host, Dr. Audra.
Hello, 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 hello. Let's get these likes and these shares up. If you don't mind, do me a quick, kind favor and share this broadcast. It is your girl once again, Dr. Audra, coming to you tonight with another session here on Dialogue with the Doctor, where we have candid conversations outside of the pulpit. So do me a favor, tag somebody, share. Let's get the numbers up tonight. We want to talk about this amazing upcoming event. How many of you know that we are excited about what God is about to do in the meeting of the minds? So go ahead, like, tag, share. We want to get as many people on here as we can tonight as we talk about what it is that God has given to us to do. I've had many people reach out to me and say, what is the meeting of the minds? Can you give me, some more details on what meeting of the minds is? And so tonight we're just going to come on. I won't be on here long. We'll be here briefly, but we're going to give you guys some more information about what is to come. And so definitely go ahead once you're chimed in, just say hello to me. I want to know who my viewers are tonight. Just shoot me a hello in the comment box. We like to interact with those who are on. So do me a favor, just continue to share as we go ahead on tonight. So tonight, as you saw the flyer, you may have saw the flyer earlier. We wanted to talk to the intercessors, right? And so we have some phenomenal intercessors. They're going to be with us for this. Hey, Ruth, how are you? She's so supportive. I love you, sweetheart. We do have some amazing intercessors that are going to be joining us in this event. And unfortunately, tonight, they were not able to get on. But one of our orators that will be on the lineup is with us tonight. And so she's my girl, so we're going to kind of just dialogue back and forth and kind of tell you guys about what's going to be, what to expect in this event. And so, listen, I'm going to go ahead and bring her on without further ado. You guys know who she is. She's probably on the majority of my shows, but she's like my right hand. Sometimes the right hand need to be slapped, but she's my right hand. And so we definitely thank God for her today. Come on, Ebony. Come on in the room.
Oh,
Blessings
you
to
were so
you.
wrong. You were so wrong. Hey, Dr. Audra, how are you?
Thank you so much for joining me again tonight. As I said before in my introduction, we just want to come quick. We won't be on here long. I know I say that. Hey, Kimberly, blessings to you.
Kim, what's up, my girl? Listen,
Thank
I need EET to show up to this conference, Kim. I
you.
need you to grab Tasha. I need you to grab Rylanda and everybody else, and I need y'all to come to this conference. Come to this
Come.
conference.
And so, as she does all the time, she takes over. Y'all see that I was doing my nice introduction and she just, takes over. But it's okay. We're getting used to it. And, we're working through some things. But so tonight, we want to just kind of give some more information. I think a lot of people are just trying to figure out what is meeting of the minds. What does that mean? We could have said any type of topic. We could have said, any type of thing, but we wanted to definitely expound on mental health, and we want to definitely expound on mental illness. And so, the just of this conference, we have first of all. tonight we were supposed to talk to the intercessors, right? So we have two amazing intercessors that are going to be with us. We have Terry Young, who's going to be joining us all the way from South Carolina. She got caught up on a flight on a plane tonight, delayed, so she wasn't able to be with us. But you'll definitely get a chance to hear some more from her as the week continues. Also, another, okay, she said if she could, she would be on the front row. Amen. Well, we definitely bless God for you. And also, we have with us prophetess, the deliverance clinic coach, man, prophetess Nikisha Winham. So she's going to be with us. Amazing prayer warrior intercessor, but she's also a life coach. She's also has the deliverance clinic. It's a coaching boot camp where she kind of coaches you back to life. So we have some amazing people. I know you don't know these names. I know I didn't say TD Jakes was coming, nor did I. And I love him. That's my dad. I love him. I want us to get away from personalities and just know that these people have the power of God in their mouths, and they're licensed professionals. So we'll talk about the licensed professionals, and then we're going to talk to Miss Ebony a little bit, which we were going to do a one-on-one on next Friday. Anyhow, but it looks like you're going to be leading the pack, right? And so tonight we wanted to also, we have prophet, the pastor, the preacher, BK, who is a counselor. And then we have Dr. Thurston, who is a life coach. We have Margaret Connolly, who is a beast. You hear me? Listen, y'all might not know their name, but I promise you, if you trust Dr. Audrey, do y'all trust Dr. Audrey tonight? Do y'all trust the God that's over my life? These people are coming. And then we have Pastor Winsome McLean. If you've ever experienced her ministry, you know, but this time you get to experience her ministry in a totally different way. And so I want to talk a little bit. So Ebony. She is also joining the platform, joining the stage. She works with, listen, everybody. And so I don't want to limit her to just youth, but we know that she has a specialty where she is able to minister to youth. So just talk a little bit about you, what you do, and what you're bringing to this platform.
Oh man, you put me on the spot, Dr. Audra. I don't like to talk about myself. I am a life strategist, so I pretty much help people who've gone through traumatic circumstances of life, and I pretty much teach you and give you the tools of what it takes to help strategize and put your life back on the right track. I have a website. I've written an ebook. I have a book coming out in September. I'm a co-author in. I do podcasts. Podcast is listed anywhere that you can listen to podcasts available. I am the greed times 3. So I have a bachelor's in psychology with a concentration in counseling. I have a bachelor's in ministry, and I'm currently working on 2 master's degrees, a master's in mental health counseling and a master's of divinity. I'm still praying. We'll see if we'll go for that PhD. So I pretty much work with families. I work with kids. I work with adults. I teach you how to establish boundaries and effectively communicate within your relationships, within your abilities, based upon my education and my personal experience as it relates to counseling, psychology, and therapy, all those great things. I intertwine everything together, and I create and specialize a program just for you to help you get through some of the roughest moments of your life. So that is in a nutshell.
And that's a lot. That is absolutely a lot. I definitely think when I think about this panel of minds, right? Amazing minds, because a lot of them are not, the norm. But there's so much greatness, and there's so much a wealth of knowledge that's going to be released. And the Bible says that we perish because of lack of knowledge. And I believe that we're failing so much because of lack of knowledge. One of these things that this young lady brings to the table, which I think is amazing, is to being able to connect or bridge that gap between a parent and a child. All right. And so it is phenomenal what she does, how she does it to work not only just with the child, but understanding the parent. So, Ebony, tell them a little bit about your program of how you help parents and children bridge that gap. Like, what is the process? So, would you do you start with the parent, then you work your way to the child, and then you work with them together? Like, what is the process?
So I pretty much do intake. So I pretty much deal with the little people first, right? I kind of get their perspective, kind of get the way of their understanding the way, because most of the time adults are usually more flexible than the kid. A lot of times what a lot of people fail to realize is that even though they're little people, their feelings are big, their feelings are real. And we have to ensure that we are acknowledging what they feel. So the first step is just a simple intake. I just simply sit down and have a conversation with your kid, whether it's a teenager, whether 9, middle age, elementary, it doesn't matter. Honestly, they can be high schoolers. I sit down and I literally just have a conversation, and I just simply relate to them. I give them the basis and the free will of what's important to them. I find out and identify that. Once I do that, then of course I talk with the parent. Well, what are some of the issues that you're dealing with? Is it behavioral issues? Do you think they just don't care? Is it body language? Like, what is it that you want out of this, or what is it that you want them to improve on? Once I get the foundation and the basis of that, then we then come together as, parent and child, and I begin to sit and explain different mechanisms of communication. We communicate one with our body language. We communicate with what we say. We communicate with what we do, how we treat one another. And most of the time, what I come to find out is a lot of the parents' upbringing. Like for me, I was brought up real strict, right? My mom didn't believe in beating clothes, right? She didn't believe in, you know what I mean? You don't get to ask questions. You don't get to tell me that I hurt your feelings. And so, and especially in our culture, the Black culture, we're so quick to think that things are disrespectful, when in reality, we just want to get an understanding as a child. The Bible declares, in all thy getting, get an understanding. And so what tends to happen a lot of times is that, I can sit down and I'm like, Mama, you hurt my feelings when you did X, Y, Z. And we get, well, I'm an adult, or I do what I want. Well, I'm the mama, you don't tell me what to do. And so there's definitely a lack of effective communication. And that's pretty much the basis of where I start. I start with simply understanding, well, how do you communicate? I can say one thing one way, and you can receive it a totally different way because of how you understand it or how you communicate. And so I pretty much just figure out their methods of communication. Once I figure that out, I bring them together and I say, okay, listen, these are the options. This is what we can do. This is what I want you to practice. And that's pretty much how we get it done, what we start doing. And their relationship can either grow from there if they want to do the work, or it can be stagnant. It's really up to the two individuals of what it is that they want out of it. What you want out of something, you're gonna put in the work to get it. So
I really want to, I probably shouldn't say this, but she's almost like a young Yolanda Van Zandt, however you say the lady's name. That when she comes into the home, like it's almost like, I know that every scenario is different, and I want to kind of hone in on the parenting tonight a little bit, if you don't mind, because I know that's one of the things that you do specialize in. I was watching a video earlier, and first I want to talk about the importance of the mental health of the child, as well as the teenager, as well as interacting with the parent. And so basically, tell us a little bit tonight about what you've seen in your profession and how important it is for us to deal with that mental health issue. Because it doesn't start as an adult. We don't start seeing mental health issues as an adult. It started somewhere, in our years. And like you said, depending on our upbringing, depending on how we were raised, or the experiences that we have encountered, shapes and molds how we view things in the way. And when we talk about mental health, it's basically God, Dr. McLean said it so well, how we view things and how we respond. And so it is just so important that we talk. And this new generation, they different. That's right, Ruth. They want to tell us how they feel, huh? And like Ebony said, when we were growing up, we didn't get the opportunity to say how we feel. We didn't get to tell mama, I don't like the way you did that. Oh Lord, your lip came off. And so let's talk about that. Talk about how it is, how important it is, like you said, these little people who are definitely developing and creating their own mind and their own mindset. How important that is.
It's extremely important, right? I think as every adult, there are some issues that we battle from our childhood because we are not taught about the true functions of our emotions. You can feel, even as an adult, sometimes we lash out in anger, and it's because we got so many emotions that are happening all at one time, and we don't know how to deal with them. Imagine all those emotions being in a 9-year-old or 8-year-old, and then all of a sudden you tell them, "Oh, shut up, be quiet, you don't matter." Right? Because your parent, they're the first role model that you get to meet. And so as a parent, you are teaching your child how to allow other people to treat them, right? So if you constantly yell at them, when they meet somebody outside or as a 16, 17-year-old, somebody yells at them, they're used to, well, my mama yelled at me, so this behavior must be okay. And so as a little person, you are teaching them how they should be respected, how they should be received. And so if every time they come to you and say, "Mommy, can I talk to you? You hurt my feelings when you did this," or, "Why can't I play my game for another 3 hours?" It can't always be because I said so. It has to be some sort of explanation to let them know, hey, listen.
Wait, hold on. I got to explain I need y'all sharing this because I need every parent that's on here to be sharing, because this woman of God just told me I have to explain to a child that I gave birth to, that I feed, and that I take care of. I gotta give this little person an explanation as to why I said what I said, because I said what I said.
Absolutely.
Why?
Because there's a validation of feelings that happens, right? So as little people, you have to validate their emotions and their feelings. You can say all day long, "I said no." Okay, that's cool. You said no. Now let me clarify this. I'm not saying every moment, you say, "I'm not stopped by McDonald's," then I'm not stopped by McDonald's. Like that's it. That's the end of the conversation. But I think for things more seriously as it relates to, just simple conversations. You ask your child, "Well, how are you feeling today?" "Well, my feelings got hurt because Johnny pushed me down." Well, you begin to articulate and have that conversation with your child, so that way you can understand where their trigger is. So that way, as an adult, you're able to identify your child's trigger at an early age. So now they don't have to grow up trying to figure out, well, why every time I see a yellow duck, my feelings are hurt. Well, simply because, you saw a yellow duck get hit by a car, whatever that scenario is. And so I think when we don't deal with our children as little people and not just see them as just the offspring of who you are, I think we can see a better formulation of adults who know how to challenge their emotions. When your kid is angry, you validate that anger. Okay, listen, you can be angry, but there's a right and a wrong way to do it. There's a right and a wrong way to be upset with mommy. You acknowledge that. "Mommy, I know mommy hurt your feelings because we can't go to McDonald's today, but there's always another day." Right? So what you're doing is you're validating their feelings. You're letting them know that your feelings matter to mommy. I care about your feelings. And I know, even though what I said is what I said, I want you to know that I value them. Because when they grow up, especially as a young Black man, how many young Black men as adults feel like they're free to express their feelings? Not too many adult male feels, because their father's always telling them, "Stop crying. Boys don't cry, or men don't cry." No, let that child cry at 9 so he knows how to cry at 30, right? We can't diminish and undermine them because they're little people. They have feelings, and what they have to say sometimes could simply be God just giving you a warning through them. So we have to slow down and honestly take the time to communicate. And again, it's just effective communicating with our people. It's effective communicating.
I can get that. You're saying Okay, okay. Let me scale it back. So yeah.
Ah, hey,
The
listen.
thing that we're teaching our child how to communicate
Right.
at an early age, because if we're just shutting them down, then they don't know when it's appropriate to speak, when it's not appropriate to speak. And so now they have all these bottled up feelings or emotions or things that they want to say. And so then it does come out sometime at the most unopportune time. Okay,
Absolutely.
okay. It's making sense, okay? But I mean, I like how you cleared that up, that I don't
Yeah,
have to,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
break it down for them. And thank you, Kimberly. You are absolutely right, because I'm going to tell you, as a pastor, it is hard to balance life, and still be a great mom. As a businesswoman, I've always worked a lot. I've always done a lot, and so we need these resources. I can remember my baby was, I want to say maybe 7, and I sought out a therapist. Didn't go as well as I thought it should, because I think at that particular time she was just too young to understand when the therapist asked her, how do you feel? Well, I'm good. Well, how is life? It's wonderful. She didn't have the same, she didn't have the emotions or feelings that she has now.
Right.
Now it's a whole nother story, honey. Huh? And you right, Ruth. They want to tell you how they feel. They want to express it. And if we
Absolutely.
don't teach them now how to properly, let me say that,
In a healthy way.
express how they feel, then they'll get in situations, with authorities or authoritative people, which, as Ebony said, we are the first authority in their lives. We're the first leadership and role models that they have. And we are teaching them how to also deal with leadership, how to deal with authority. And if authority only shuts you down, now you have no mouth or you have no voice, then they're going to always probably respond in a negative way.
Absolutely.
And you can expound on that if I said that well.
No, I think you did. I think you did a wonderful job, Dr.
I did
Audra.
all right.
I think you did. I think you're figuring it out. And like I tell a lot of people, gentle parenting it requires patience. It
Mental
requires.
parenting. Y'all put it in, because I don't know what that means. She finna explain it. Cause
So gentle parenting is definitely a lot different than the way that I was brought up, because I was brought up, you do as I say, not as I do. You don't ask questions. I'm the parent. I do what I want. You do what I tell you to do, and that's how this is gonna go. And so a lot of times when you find people like me who are so outspoken, it's because I've always had a muzzle. Somebody's always told me, "Oh, you can't do that." So somebody's always been in control of me, and nobody ever gave me permission to be in control of me until I gave myself that permission. And so you don't want your kid to grow up and get to 25, 26, 27, and now they're just now figuring out the fact that all these years I never knew that I was sad because of X, Y, and Z, or I never knew how to identify my triggers until I was put in a situation where it caused me to sit and think about what that trigger is and what it done. And so I think being a parent is absolutely phenomenal. But sometimes I think as parents, we forget that our kids have feelings. They have emotions, just like you get up and you go to work and you work hard. Don't think that same kid ain't going to school and not working hard. Stress is real to everybody. But again, me growing up, I'm 13, you're not stressed out. Why are you tired? I'm tired because I'm going to school and it's mentally draining.
first
I
of all,
have
you're
to
not
deal with
calling me
bullies.
out on this show, okay? Because with
What?
kids, you're not. No, I'm saying it in a way because I believe every parent that's on here now could identify with that. We're like, what you mean you tired? What you tired from? I work. I pay the bills. I do this. I do that. Blah. Why you depressed? What you don't have you have no reason to be depressed or stressed. And I love that. So
Yeah, because we do. Because honestly, they do. As a middle school, as a kid in elementary, as a high schooler, we have the right they have the right and the ability. I'm not in neither one of those grades. They have the right and the ability to express to you that I'm stressed out. Because guess what? You never had to do school via on Zoom. you never had to really deal with the peer pressure that they get now. Not only that, they're throwing in their faces of all these different genders and expectations in the LGBTXYZ community. So now our kids are struggling with not just the basics of things. Now they're
That's right, Ashley.
Listen, right, Ashley, absolutely. My
daughter says the same thing.
Absolutely.
If I was to tell you what she said to me one time when she told me that she was tired, and I came home one time and she said, "Well, Mom, you don't do nothing but sit at a desk all day." Oh, listen.
I bet you turned outraged. I bet you turned red.
Actually, these new kids, I don't know what they got going on, but they got something totally different. They feel like them going to school, and I get it. Let me let you finish because you the expert. I'm trying to learn. Let me see here and learn.
And honestly, sometimes all they want to do is they just want you as a parent to acknowledge their hard work that they're putting in. We know you go to work. We know you pay the bills. We know you putting a roof over our head. We know you the one that feed us. We know you don't. We know all of these things. But can you take a moment to validate the hard work that I'm putting in? Can you validate the fact that I could easily give into peer pressure? Somebody offered me a vape. I could easily vape it, but I didn't. Can you take a moment to validate me as a little person? And sometimes that's all they want. Sometimes they're like, "Oh, I had a long day. I'm tired." Well, why are you so tired? What'd you do at school today? Have you ever stopped to ask those questions to get down to the real meaning? They could be up all night and you don't even know it. They could be dealing with night terrors, right? They could be dealing with a bully at school. You don't know these questions because you're so quick to dismiss their feelings. If your child come home and say, "Mommy, I'm tired," or "I had a long day," your response shouldn't be, "Boy, all you did was went to school." No, that's not all I did. I went to school. I dealt with peer pressure. I said no to something that I really wanted to do because I didn't want to disappoint you. I aced the test. I failed the test. Right? I had to hide in the bathroom from a bully, or I was being bullied. They took we don't know because we fail to ask those questions because we think that as an adult, we're the only ones whose feelings matter. No, your little person feelings matter. And you are the first person to validate that. So if you fail to validate their feelings at 9, 12, 13, 16, if you fail to do that, the next adult or the next person that they begin to date, guess what? They're not going to validate their feelings. So now they feel like, I can't tell you that I had a bad day because the only thing you're going to say is, "Well, you're an adult. Bad days happen." No, give me more than that. Have a conversation with me. Effectively communicate with me so that way I can tell you that I was sad today at school. I had to go to the bathroom and cry today at school because some kids stepped on my toe and the teacher didn't do anything about it. But because we're so quick to dismiss our kid because, "Oh, you're a kid. Only thing you did was go to school." No, when I'm at school, you don't know what they deal with. Again, they're dealing with same-sex gender stuff. They're dealing with, kids vaping. They're dealing with guns being pulled on them at school. Do you not know what this does to your little child's mental health? And so I would advise parents to sit down and have that conversation. Hey, school is getting ready to start. Do you have any concerns?
Hey, wait now. We don't give too much because if we give too much, they ain't going to come to the Don't start putting out and all that. Hold on, sweetheart. Hold on.
I get going and I be like,
and it's good because I want you guys to hear personally, one-on-one from some of these professionals to just know how much knowledge that they have. And I love what you said, Ruth. They have to deal with stuff we never had to deal with.
Absolutely.
Like we was fighting with rocks and stones. We wasn't pulling out guns and we didn't have to worry about, right, like you said, transgender bathrooms. And now and we know at the age of 13, when you research it, that's when they're trying to find themselves. They're trying to figure out which way do they go, who they are. And then now we got to deal with, possibly, transgender bathrooms and it's on every TV show. It's in everything. And listen, I'm a pastor. We love everybody. But does that confuse the heck out of a little person? It absolutely does. It confuses them because they don't know. And then as parents, if they're raised in a home, a home where it's mom and dad, and now they're seeing other things, it's so confusing for them. And so I love that. I absolutely love it. I don't like it. I love it, right? I don't like it because you're right. It changes the mindset of how we were raised. Like
Absolutely.
you said, you just do what I say. You hear what I say, and that's it. And now it's like you said, and even as us as adults, a lot of us don't know how to effectively
No,
communicate because of the way we were brought up, because of the way we were reared. And whether it was right, wrong, or different, the Bible says, I said it in the beginning, if we lack knowledge, we fail, because the problem is we weren't armed with the knowledge. And listen, guys, we want to offer you
absolutely.
knowledge.
Absolutely.
You can't pay for knowledge. You really can't. The information that's going to be released in this conference, you cannot pay for it. The $50 is only for the day session, where you get one-on-one personal time with the therapist, with the counselors. But the night session is open to the public at 7 o'clock. But I don't want you to just come to the transformation without getting the information and the impartation. Right. And so we can't transform by the renewing of our minds without all three parts. We need the information, knowledge. It's power. We perish without it. Right. And so once you get that information, they're going to give you some tips and tools that you can take home and work with your families. And then they're offering their services. This young lady is working with some of the hardest kids, right? That I would probably be like, run, Forrest, run, right? Because I'm not equipped. I don't have the knowledge that I have, but with combine the knowledge with the Holy Spirit, right? Because we know we need God in everything. I heard somebody say you need a couch and an altar. You absolutely do. You need that knowledge. You need to be armed with that. And we need to pull out that mindset that, oh, well, that's the way mama did it. And that's the way grandmama did it. That's the way I'm going to do it. And I'm not going to change. We have to change some things. That's why, Kimberly, they're and Ruth, they're dealing. I'm sorry, Ashley, they're dealing with stuff we would have never thought about. When I grew up, and I'm being honest, and I can say this on my show because it's my show. When I grew up, when people had that different lifestyle, it was very hidden. It was, you didn't see young people coming into elementary school with fingernails, and you just didn't see it. And so not knowing what they're dealing with now is totally different. And so that is so true. You can go ahead, Ebony. I don't know. I just keep.
No, you're good. This your show. I'm just in your world, Dr.
Oh, my
Audrey.
show today. Okay, 'cause I thought it was Dr. Ebony show. I don't know.
Listen,
No,
I don't have the doctorate degree to call myself a doctor. I'm just sister, right?
Okay, we need to verify tonight. Good. But I want you to talk a little bit. I don't want to give them all the information,
Okay,
right?
that's fair. That's fair.
Because we want them to definitely come. But and we're gonna put together those tools and tips and those giveaways. I mean, those takeaways that you could take away. And of course, it still takes time. I think that we invest in everything else. And I'm gonna tell you about me real quick. Single mom. I've always been a single mom, right? From the time she came into the world. Um, Business owner, and I run a company, also a pastor. I wear a lot of hats. One of the biggest fears that I've always had coming up was the fear that there would be a major disconnect between me and my daughter. And I'm not going to tell you that it wasn't. And I'm not going to tell you that it even isn't still now. But I've always tried to take time to invest in that because I never wanted her to grow up bitter, angry with the church. Most PK kids, and I'm going to do a show, I'm going to do a PK kids show.
Baby,
right?
we be mad.
Most PK kids grow up angry. They walk away from God. They walk away from the church. And I never wanted that to be the case. And so I'm making the proper adjustments now, so that to ensure that she does not grow up to be that kid that does not like God. And we know moms on here, we'll drag them kids to church. You going to church. I don't care what you say. You going to church. But still there has to be that balance. And she says, Mom, I want to go hang out. I want to go watch a movie. Oh, we ain't going to watch no movie. I'm learning, y'all. I'm learning. And so as I learn, I want that same knowledge to be imparted into you guys. So now let's talk about. So we talked about the importance of mental health in our young people, right? Because it's just going to grow. It's just going to get worse, and that's why we having the school shootings. That's I was watching a video before we got on here. I think I sent it to you, where this young boy, he probably had to be about 5 or 6. He grabs the mom's mouth, slaps her in the face, and started punching her. And she was just sitting there. Like, let's talk about this anger that these kids are housing.
Ooh, anger is real. In our little people, I can tell you, I've come across some very angry kids. And it's almost as like, how in the world, as a 9-year-old, as an 8-year-old, as a 13, 14, 15-year-old, how do you house all of this anger? And so the root of their anger, listen to this, is abandonment, right? Because, and I'll use Dr. Audra because I know she doesn't mind me using her, sometimes as parents, we can be so focused on, I got to provide, I got to make sure there's shoes on your feet, I got to, that we're forgetting to be present, emotionally present for our kids, mentally present for our kids. You're physically there, you're physically in the house, you give them a bath, you do this, you do that. But somewhere along the line, you drop the ball when you fail to be emotionally present with your child. It don't matter how big your house is, or how many toys you give them, or how many pairs of shoes you buy them. I promise you, I won't tell you nothing that I don't know personally. They're going to grow up and they're going to rebel because you are not present for them emotionally and mentally. So I don't want us to ever don't get me wrong, making sure that there's a roof over their head is extremely important. But if you want to create healthy adult children, you got to have healthy little children. You got to. There's no way around it.
I'm going to stop you right there. Okay. That was a great example. So what does a mom or dad, because we're not discriminating.
Right. No.
How does a mom or dad, and we're going to give them a little bit, right? Because we want them to come to the conference.
I mean, when I gave them a little bit, we're going to give you a little bit.
We gave them a lot so far. A mom who you said, like myself, who grew up with not having a lot, right? And so, of course, the natural response is, well, I'm going to give my kid everything I did not have, right? The clothes, the gifts, the shoes, the blah, 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 whatever. But still working so hard to provide it that now I'm not emotionally there. What does a mom or dad do? How do they balance out trying to provide or be emotionally present when they're not emotionally present for themselves?
So the first thing you would have to do is you would have to identify that, right? So the first step in anything is identifying that there is a problem. Once you can identify the problem, you have to own the problem. Okay. So for me, as a kid, I grew up, I told you guys how I grew up, right? So there had to come a point in my life where I was like, okay, Ebony, are we going to stay in this cycle because you've been in it for so long, or are we going to get out of it? And so the first step is identifying, specifying there's a problem. The second thing is, where are the resources? What do I do? How do I fix this, right? And so the third step is just simply start communicating more. You know what I mean? Start doing things that you wish your mom would have done for you, right? And one of those things could simply be is just having a conversation, or, Friday, ice cream Friday day, right? Where you just go every Friday, you and your kid, you all go get ice cream, right? You have to be intentional about healing. So as an adult, you may not know how to love or be emotional or be affectionate, right? But your little person doesn't know that you don't know how to do that. So sometimes that little person will come and hug you and hold on to you, and you be like, all right, get off me. Huh? Get off me, get away. I don't want no kisses, right? That is that little person saying, Mommy, I need you emotionally.
Well, since we went there, let's go all the way there. Let's step on out in the water. I did not grow up with that.
Right. So now your little person is trying to teach you.
Now you're asking me to provide something that I never had. So make it.
That's good. Make it make sense. I'm getting ready to make it make sense.
And Shababi says table talks in the home.
I love it, Shababi. Absolutely. This is how you do it. You allow your little person to teach you. Oh,
I got.
I know, right?
That's how hard it is.
How
Yeah.
do
I need
this
to
little
tag
person can't
somebody. I
teach
need to
me
tag
that?
somebody on that one because I
This
know.
little person can't teach me how to love. Yes, they can, if you let them. So when they come and hug you and hold you tight, that's them saying, "Mommy, I need you. I need you to be emotional with me." And you know what you do in return? You grab them, you hug them tighter, and you let them lay on you for as long as they want to. And bit by bit, it'll start becoming a routine. And now, guess what you're doing? Now you're learning how to be vulnerable with the little person that you created. But we have to be open to allowing our children to teach us some things, right? I have a sister. Today's her birthday. Woo woo! Happy 31st, Quintera. You know, a lot of people would say that she was real rough before she had Judah. You know, now she's at the age of where that little boy came, and I don't know where the soft spot came from. That little boy came, and the girl heart so tender. You know what I mean? And it's simply because she said, okay, well, I grew up in a certain way. I don't want my child to feel that way. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to do something differently. So if you grew up and you knew the issues that you had to deal with as it relates to an adult and not being able to communicate, you're going to do the same thing to your kid? Do something different.
Okay. Now I'm not gonna lie, because I'm trying to tag somebody because we literally had a sit down, and I think Pastor McLean was over this actually, one of the orators, and they said when you go home tonight, give your kid a hug. Ooh, I felt like my whole body trembled, right? And it's not that. Listen, guys, y'all don't judge me. I absolutely love and adore my child, right? She's extremely spoiled, but it was not. It is a very. What would you say? That's just a place that I've never been. And it's not that I'm not an affectionate person because I am. And me and one of the other young ladies, I'm trying to tag her to get her on here. We both was like, all right, make sure you go home and hug your child tonight. Give him a kiss and tell him you love him. So what is that? What is it that makes that so difficult?
I'll tell you because I know by experience. It's unknown. It's an unknown territory, and so because it's so unknown, a lot of the times if we can't control a thing or how we respond to a thing, a lot of times we won't even entertain the thing. And so it comes to a point of where you have to let go of that control, and you have to say, "I'm going to let my little person love me in the way that they want to love me."
I don't want
And
to talk about this
sometimes
anymore. Can we just move on? Ruth, I'm gonna come spend some time in the car with you and your children. We have good conversation. I feel very naked and exposed right now, so I want to move on to the next thing. Right?
that's fine. We can move on. We can
This,
definitely move on.
no,
But that's what this conference is all about. Can I chime in
but
here?
listen,
This is what
but
this conference is all about, guys. This is why you need to get here August 13th. This is what the conference is about, baby. We all gonna strip. But guess
Ruth,
what?
don't laugh. Don't judge
We're
me,
all
Ruth.
gonna get the tools. We all gonna get the information. And guess what? Y'all get to do one-on-one, not just with me, but with the adults, with the licensed therapists, and guess what? We're gonna get down to the root of why it's so hard for us to receive love from our little people.
And
Right?
I want to show a little bit of my vulnerability because I think people don't understand it. And some parent might be on here right now like, oh, that's me too. Like I thought something was wrong with me. Like, why don't I feel good embracing, the little thing that I created, right? I don't want to say thing, the person. Don't
Little
rebuke me.
person, little person.
Little person that I created. Why is it so hard? It's just a very sensitive area, right? I don't know what it is. We're gonna figure it out. But I want you guys to come August 13th. We have 2 sessions, right? Somebody said to me today, well, I want to come, but if I come to the day session, what I'm gonna do, stay down there all day? Well, listen, we're gonna try to figure something out. But I want you guys to understand the importance of this. It is not, listen, I just came out of a phenomenal conference, Restore the Health. It was dope. It was super dope. And I left feeling refreshed, right? But what I did not leave with is tools that I need to
Yes,
carry
Bruce.
out.
Yeah.
I need tools. You're gonna get information, right? We do this all the time. I love that, Ruth. She says, I understand. I
Yeah.
didn't get that affection from my mom, so I made it. That's good.
Conscious. She's intentional with her relationship with the child. She's not just repeating on, watch this, generational trauma. But what she wants to do is she wants to bring generational wholeness to her family. And so you have the ability to pass down generational wholeness and not generational pain. But it starts with being intentional.
Hey, Ruth, I said I wanted to move on, but y'all still staying here. Let's go.
Like, got to be intentional. You got to be, and I love the fact that you have to be conscious to know that I didn't get love and affection from my mom or from my dad or from my sister, from my brother. And I remember what that made me feel like. So
we know this. This we know. In every situation, let's just say you grew up where your dad was an alcoholic or your dad was on. Every person, like my fiance, he grew up with a father that was an alcoholic. He was a bit of an abuser. He made a conscious decision that he was going to be the opposite. You either follow the example or you revert to the opposite, but it still does not mean you don't have trauma.
Absolutely. I agree. Okay. I agree. I totally agree. Which is where that consciousness and that intentionality comes in at. If I'm conscious of the fact that, okay, well, maybe my parents showed me love and affection, but I also saw the imperfection of the alcoholism. I'm conscious enough to know that even though they showed me love and affection, my dad being alcoholic still caused trauma in my life. And so guess what? I'm aware of it. I'm conscious of it. And if I ever identify that trigger, guess what I can do? I go and get help for it, right? I go figure out, I go sit on somebody's couch or I call a friend. I say, hey, listen, this is what I'm feeling. All of a sudden I feel strange or I want to drink. Can you help me identify this? But it starts with, watch this, being conscious. You have to be conscious in your emotions. A lot of adults and a lot of parents are unconscious to their emotions. Mm-hmm. You got to become conscious and aware, right? So listen, y'all got to get to this conference. That's it. I'm done. I'm not giving no more knowledge. Y'all got to come to this conference.
No, we got to give them a little bit more because this is why this is.
You're right. This your show.
No. I'm not gonna, I'm not saying like we're gonna do a whole session tonight, but it is so important to understand the parent-child relationship, right? It is so important. Because when we talk about who we are as an adult, it started as a child, right? And so it affects us as an adult, and we have the ability to change the narrative of our children. My mom showed her love through buying me any and everything, but what I wanted most was going to the movies, etc. My dad did, and
here's this. Can I chime in this? This is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with PRENSCEN, presence, versus PRESENT, present. We're dealing with presence, as in the physical presentness of our parent, versus present and what they can do tangibly for us. If we can ever get to the point of where we can identify, well, how does my child know that I love them? It's not all. I promise you, as a kid, no kid keeps the toy that you bought them when they were 5. But they remember the theme park that y'all went to when they were 5, right? No kid holds on to a stuffed animal that you got them. But they remember that ice cream fight that y'all had or that water gun fight that y'all had at 7. The kid don't have the joints that you bought them when they were newborn. But they do have the memory that you created with them when they were 7. And so we have to get, as parents, I know you got to work harder. You want to give your kid all these tangible things that you didn't get. But we have to be, again, conscious to our emotions to say, they didn't get me presents, neither did they give me their presents.
But what about the kid that didn't get either of it?
So guess what? As an adult, when you grow up and you identify that and you have kids, you conscious and you make the decision that I want to balance this thing out and I'm going to give my child both. And so
in order for you to do that, you got to first get the help for yourself.
You got to first get the help for yourself. You got to first
You got to deal with it.
Admit to it.
Because I think, too, a lot of us, and I can talk about myself because it's my show, we created coping mechanisms that, because one of the things I said I would never live a poverty life. That was it. And so I reverted to the other side of being this workaholic because I'm going after the bag. I don't want to grow up like that. I don't want that.
Overcompensated. You overcompensated.
Yeah, overcompensated. But I overworked myself trying to create a life for myself because I didn't want that life that I had.
Absolutely.
Right? And so then when I did become a parent, I'm thinking, okay, I got it all figured out. I maxed the game. I changed the narrative. I'm not living that life, but I did not deal with the mental side of it.
Absolutely.
The physical side of it, I felt like I had achieved the goal. But
because it's easier.
Don't do that.
Tangible is always easier. It's tangible. It's the intangible things that are hard. And so when we become okay with the intangible things, I think then we can begin to develop. Because again, we can preach all day in the pulpit, but are we really living that life? Why do you think that God said, no, give me the kids. Bring them to me. They're not less than. Huh? So if God himself is saying, bring me the kids, you pushing yours away for the sake of church? For the sake of a job?
You're on the edge.
I
would just think
deal with the faith aspect of it too. We got to deal with the faith aspect of it too, right? Because guess what? One of the first priorities that God gave us is family. Period. And so as a single mother, single father, as a 2-parent household, your kid should be priority. Now what you do in ministry, all that good stuff, that's great. But the only time that you and your kids spend time together is when y'all in the car headed to church because you got to go see about this family. You got these revivals. You spend a weekend all. No, where is your child? Because if God said no, I don't want these. I want adults. I want the children. But as a parent, you're saying I don't want my child. Give me the adults. We got it backwards. We gotta balance that thing out. God ain't gonna send me to hell if I say I'm gonna skip a Sunday and spend it with my kid because my kid felt abandoned the entire week. You're not condemned to hell. I think God will honor that.
Well, the old school said,
I understand what the old school said, but how did that help you as an adult? Ooh.
Well, we gotta be in church, huh?
I didn't say not ever go to church. I didn't say that.
No, I understand balance. I believe that you need to be balanced in every aspect of life. Right?
But we can't use Jesus as an excuse to abandon our kid.
No, absolutely not. No. I think, and I'm gonna go there with this because I think it's not. I think again, it goes back to lack of knowledge. Because I think people feel like, oh, I'm doing God a service. So surely God gonna take care of that. Surely. And I'm not telling you that's right. I'm just telling you the thought, right? I'm not saying it's right.
I got you.
I'm not. Because I believe this. You're the first pastor, bishop, evangelist, teacher, preacher. You're that to your family first before you're that to anybody else. Absolutely. That's why he said in Timothy, how can a man take care of the house of God and fail in his own house?
Oh,
us are trying to take care of the house of God and we're failing at our own house. And I get it. There has to be a balance. But I'm gonna be honest, I'm learning to balance it out and not just be like, now my daughter, honestly, I don't take her to every service. I don't. If I have to go to a funeral, I don't take her to the funeral. I don't take her to services to where I'm going to be pulled out and I have to sit on the front and she's sitting in the back with somebody else. I don't do that. Even when she was younger, if there was not someone there to sit with her that I was confident with, I didn't do that. And so a lot of times she was not in church, but that does not mean that she was not in the care of someone else as well.
Gene, what's up, my boy?
Hi. Okay, that's what I called speak of the importance of single stage. See,
Once you
say
already
because once you that's right.
your
Your
priorities should
priority.
shift. They absolutely do, and so we have to understand it. And so I think it is so important, especially in our culture. I think it's more so visible in our culture, because of how our parents and grandparents and loved ones did it prior to us. But just because you spent so long making a mistake, does that mean that you could? Shall we continue in sin? Huh? No. God forbid, right? So shall we continue to make the same thing, walk in the same era, and keep passing down that generational trauma when we have the ability to be
Generational trauma. What are you talking about?
Mama was verbally abused. So now mama verbally abused me. Now I verbally abuse my child. Now my child verbally abused their child. My mom only gave me presents and never her presents. So now, and it continues. Or I can change the narrative.
That was the example of love that I saw.
And nobody became conscious enough to say, I want better for my kid. Because as every adult, I don't care what adult, and I'll put money on this one here. I don't gamble, but if I did, I would put money on this. Is that every adult, when you look yourself in the mirror, you can identify some place in your life where your mom caused you trauma, where your dad caused you trauma. And if you have children, you can look at how you've parented your child this far, and you can identify whether you change that behavior or not, and you can identify where you possibly caused your child trauma too, because of the trauma. And now it looks similar, right? Like you even said yourself, there was a point you didn't want your child to be disconnected from you like you were with your parent. But now here it is, you kind of start to see those patterns. Mm-hmm. But now you're conscious enough to be able to say that looks familiar, but it's not joy that looks familiar, it's pain that looks familiar. So how can I, as an adult, shift from pain to wholeness? How can I ensure that my child don't have to be 26 healing from something that I did when they were 9?
Come on, you
generational wholeness.
You giving too much. They got to come to the conference.
Listen, y'all come. August 13th. August 13th. Get
it's
to the conference.
It's not your typical conference, right?
It's not. It's not.
Really not. And I know I almost don't want to even call it a conference. I want to call it
a movement, an empowerment moment. Like your life needs this, guys. I've sat on here for a whole hour and I've dropped nuggets and tools. And listen, I'm just warming up. This is just the intro. This does not give you, I have not given you the ability of the steps that you should take. But if you want those steps, you want all of that stuff, you got to get to the conference, August 13th. Listen, 2 weeks. Listen, I want to deal with that too. Give me a minute. Let me finish promoting this conference. Listen, 2 weeks, August 13th. I need y'all in the building. Jean, I need you to come. I need you to bring your youth department, your youth leaders. Listen, I want the pastors.
We're going to get to that. Wait. We're going to get to that. You say you're going to deal with this.
I want to do. Yes. So listen, Ruth. Ruth. I don't even know if I know you, but I like you. I like
Ruth is a partner. She's a partner.
It's so important that we can apologize to our children.
Oh. Ruth, you done opened a can of worms.
She did. Thank you, Ruth. We feel like as adults, everything that we do is right. We think everything we do is the right way.
It really is, though.
And we be so wrong. But instead of us going to our kid and say, Mommy apologizes because when Mommy yelled at you, Mommy hurt your feelings. We don't do that. I'm the mama. I do what I want.
Ebony, do you know that when you apologize to a kid, you give them like a little mini gun to shoot at you whenever they want to?
That's not true.
Would you remember when you were wrong?
What you're teaching them is that when people hurt your feelings, they should come back and say sorry. Because now you have the 16, 17, 18-year-old who's in relationships or in friendships. And guess what? They think that when their friend do them wrong, their friend ain't got to come back and apologize. No, there is, watch this, a standard that my mom, my dad, my parental parents set for me. And that standard is that when you do me wrong and you didn't mean to do it, you come back and you say sorry. And you change that behavior. It's not.
This is why I'm the host. I'm not the professional, right? I'm the host, right? So y'all don't follow me. Just this, yeah. So we're gonna let the professionals do what they do. August 18th. August 13th. Lord, I'm gonna put an 18th on it. Put the link in the comments for me. August 13th. It's a Saturday. 13th. Right? It's the 13th.
Listen,
it's a Saturday. It is one day of complete empowerment. We've been on here an hour. I want to be on here for 30 minutes.
Y'all not sure how to do that. You
guys can see, it's absolutely no way that we can fit all of this into one day, right? Or one hour. If you get to this conference, we have 10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock, right?
Yes, ma'am.
10 o'clock is our session, one-on-one with the therapist. We have Dr. I'm going to call her Dr. McLean because she's a powerhouse. Holy Ghost filled, prophet, barefoot. And she's licensed professional. We have Margaret Connolly, licensed professional and full of the Holy Ghost, knows the word. Prophet B. Cave, full of the Holy Spirit and knows the word. So as Ebony was saying before, absolutely. Listen, I know that there's a negative stigma on mental health, right? So most of the people who dealing with it are watching this right now saying, oh, that ain't for me anyway. But guess what? If it ain't for you, do me a favor. As a minister of the gospel, you need to get the information, right? I'm a whole pastor. I need this information to be able to do my counseling sessions. I need this information to even, I ain't going to be like y'all. I'm going to tell you, I need it in my personal life. But outside of my personal life, I needed to be able to counsel people properly, to be able to properly place people, to be able to properly deal with our youth department. Come on, you need to send your youth leaders. You need to send your ministers, your counselors. You need to send your elders. You need to send your pastors. You need to get here.
Can I say this? If your church does not have a functioning counseling department in any way, you're wrong. Tell your pastor to come see us. Let's get them squared away. That's because right. You need it. We can't. We talk and we preach on Jesus being whole, and yet we're walking around broken because we refuse to identify that there is a disconnect between my faith and my feelings. God, there's a disconnect. Okay. And there don't have to be a disconnect between your faith and your feelings. You can connect them. Theology meets psychology at the point of trauma. There is nobody in this world that has not experienced trauma. How have you handled that trauma? How have you applied faith to that trauma? You can't, because you don't even know how to. Come to the conference. Let us teach you. So that way you can go back to your congregations, you go back to doing and hosting, and you will be doing it from a whole place and not a broken place.
We're closing. Not because, listen, we're closing. I'm coming back next week, right? Monday through Friday. Every night next week, I'm going to interview and talk to one of the professionals one-on-one. You'll get to see just a snippet of who these people are, right? You still got a whole week and a half to register. I'm almost to the point. I know, Ebony, I promise you, this is so needed. I'm so close to taking the registration even off, because this is how important it is that you get there. The registration is just to ensure that you got some food to eat. You have a nice place to, because we can't do this outside, right? You're gonna sit in a nice place. It ain't about us. We told you guys in the first call, on the first live, that we're not even making anything off of this, right? I'm just coordinated. I'm the little man on the totem pole. But I'm an intercessor and I can pray you through some things. I want you to get there. The link is in there. It's $50. That's all. You can't pay for one session with any one of these therapists for $50.
$50. You sitting on my couch for $50.
Right. Don't get okay. I don't. You just can't. And I want you guys to go into 2023 empowered
Right.
with knowledge. So all week, Dialogue with the Doctor will be back starting Monday. Monday, I'm coming one-on-one with Dr. Connolly. Tuesday, one-on-one with Pastor McLean. Wednesday, one-on-one with Prophet Cave. Thursday, one-on-one with Dr. Thurston. And then Friday, we'll talk about I don't think we need to do this again. But you guys have gotten the opportunity to meet the Ebony Sherman. She's working with kids. She's dope. She has a way, y'all. There's an anointing on this woman of God, and she's a prophet in her own right. So listen, make sure that you register this week. I'm looking for registration to shoot up. If you need more information, contact me personally. My Facebook page is Audra Pasco, or you can contact the Dialogue with the Doctor page. We'll get that information. We have people that are traveling from north looking for hotels. We have hotel information. We have all that information for you. You need to get here, right? So join us next week. I'll be back Monday night, 8 o'clock, with the Margaret Connolly, licensed professional. All the professionals are going to be on all week. We just want to make sure that you understand the importance of what this is, what's going to be offered to you. And we're going to sit there and we're going to offer this to you for $50, right? But the night session, let's just say, hey, we're in a recession. You're not able to attend that day session. It's not going to be live. Make sure you get there at 7 o'clock, right? Get there at 7 o'clock. We're going to be right in Pompano, 2450 Powerline Road. We're coming with the intercessors. The intercessors are coming. The prayer warriors are coming. And we're going to get you, we're going to push you guys through. But you got to get there.
Oh,
You got to get there, right? So I'm going to have this woman of God pray for parents as we close out. And you guys will see me back Monday night, 8 p.m. God bless you all.
awesome. Let us pray. Kind Father in heaven, we thank you for this moment, this time that you've allowed us to gather this knowledge and information to help us to be better parental parents. Father, I pray now for every parent that is watching. Father, I pray that you would give them the knowledge, the experience. Father, I pray that you would touch their minds and give them the ability to tap into that place that you've called them to be. Father, I pray that you would touch them and cause them to be made whole in every area of their life. Father, I pray that you would sharpen their spirit of discernment as relates to their children, that they're able to give their children what they need, that they're able to function properly as an adult, to be able to parent their children in the right way. Father, you declared in your word, raise up a child in the way they should go, and when they're older, they won't depart. So, Father, you're not only just talking about the faith and the structure of our faith, but, Father, you're talking about teaching them the ability to be financially stable, to be emotionally stable, to be mentally stable. So, Father, I pray now that you would touch every parent that is watching, touch every parent that will watch. And, Father, I pray that you would give them the ability, the tools, the knowledge, the resources, that they're able to parent their children in the way that you called them to raise them, in the way that you called them to do it. Father, I pray for every parent who has experienced trauma in any way. Father, I pray that you would heal them. Touch them where they're hurt. Father, you declare in your word that you are near the brokenhearted. And so, Father, I thank you for touching that parent who's afraid to be vulnerable with their child. Father, I pray that you will touch their emotions and open their emotions in the way that they're able to receive love, that they're able to learn love from their little person. Father, I pray that you would do the unexpected in their lives, that you would touch their lives and transform their lives for the betterment of themselves, Father, for the betterment of the next generation. Father, I pray that you go down their line, that, Father, you go down generations prior to them. And, Father, you touch that mother that lacked love. Father, you touch that father that lacked love. Father, you touch that sister, that brother who are dealing with mommy and daddy issues. Father, I thank you now that every generational curse is broken off of the lives of these your people. Father, I thank you that instead of generational trauma, Father, we'll pass down generational wholeness, generational wellness, generational finance. Father, I thank you now that generational wealth is being transferred from one parent to the child. Father, I thank you that in this moment, at this time, that we are giving new information. We are doing new experiences. We are giving our children something that we didn't have before, and that's wholeness. That's effectively communicating in a healthy way. That's teaching them tools, knowledge, and experience in another way. Father, I thank you for what you're going to do for these parents. Father, I thank you for how you're touching their bodies now, how you're healing their hearts, you're mending their souls. Father, I thank you that you're going to allow them to parent, not from a broken place, but Father, from a whole place, not from a wounded place, Father, but from a healed place. Father, I thank you that when you hung upon the cross, you declared these words, it is finished. So I thank you, Father, that the finished works of the cross is applying now to these parents. It's applying now to these children. Father, I thank you that you're allowing us to be conscious, that we're making conscious decisions, that we're making decisions for the betterment and a wholeness, not of just ourselves, but as our little people. So Father, I thank you that you're making us sensitive to our little people. Father, I thank you that you're making us aware to behavior changes to our little people. Father, I thank you that you're making us aware, that you're putting and you're creating a community that our little people can cohabitate in, that they can grow up whole, that they can grow up healed, that they can grow, that they don't have to deal with the trauma that their parents are dealing with. But Father, I thank you that they'll experience you from a whole place. Whew! That Father, they won't have to come to you because they're broken, but Father, they'll come to you thanking you because they're whole. They come to you thanking you because they're healed. They come to you thanking you because of what did not happen. Father, I thank you that we are teaching our little people to serve you from a new place, that we are giving them a new experience. And I pray this prayer in the name that's above all other names. And it's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. We'll see you guys August 13th. God bless you.